Welcome to Feisty Chess. I'm playing JA 2022 on Lee Chess. I've got white. It's going with the Viking defense, as I like to call it. Scandinavian with the immediate d5. So we got a take. And now, if he doesn't take right away with the queen, we can try to hold on to this pawn a little bit. This is a line I like to play. Oops. Oh, F flips the board. Look at that. So he goes bishop d7, because I just take the pawn back if he blocks with the pawn. So black is looking to gain that pawn back, but now I go bishop c4, and he's no longer attacking it with his queen. All right, we might have the fun exchange sacrifice line here. If a5 to try to trap that bishop, I go a4. Remember, I'm up a pawn. Okay, he's going with this line. Do I want to kick that guy again, or do I want to just develop quickly? I think I would like to kick it. And then if he goes f5, which is likely, I'll play a4. Maybe same thing here. In playing a4, I can recapture with check. Yeah, this looks good. I can't believe I was able to win my last game. It was one of my most interesting endings. If you haven't seen that, I urge you to check it out. It's my Zugzwang, my Alekhine Defense Zugzwang game. But I was, in looking at it, maybe I was just still flabbergasted by how that turned out, but I realized I wasn't in very good... I didn't have my right chess mind as I was playing that game. In other words, a lot of my analysis was either slow or just plain bad. But then again, the computer itself didn't play all that well during the game. Okay, now I'm thinking b3. But the problem is, if he takes, then I can recapture with knight c3, and I'm protecting my pawn twice. The problem is he can go a5 there. Maybe I play a5. And then I've got that check. Maybe it's time to give up the ghost. Ooh, no, even better. I'm just going to hang on to this thing with c4. Maybe it's a bit greedy, but he can take en passant, but then I'm still clutching it. But this way, if he doesn't take, I'm just guarding it. So. Okay, that's how it is. I'm going to get this move in. Black is kind of threatening here to play this, and then I need to take, and then after knight takes, I can't play d4. So I'm going to get d4 in right away. Yeah, up a pawn, and it's a nice looking center pawn. Look at this. I'm happy here. Okay, now I need to take. This is all as expected. And maybe the bishop comes first. Nah. Probably the knight. Probably the knight. Knight needs to go here. This unpins this pawn, actually, so that this square is actually guarded now. And also gives me one step closer to castling. If he goes e5, I can either take or push, or I could even go bishop e5 there, bishop e3 there. And I'll probably want to castle extra hard and go here, and then another move to go to h1 with my king. Okay, do we want to take? Actually, once we push, where does his knight go? Either backs up on the queen side, or... Yeah, let's push. Or he has to go to e7, which just blunts, you know, just plugs in the bishop. We could even consider d6. The bishop is kind of a big pawn here, but it's an important big pawn. If knight e7, maybe d6, followed by c5. I might want to prepare that, though. There's no rush. He can't ever go knight g6 or knight f5 because of this. This move is a trapped bishop in one case and a fork on two pieces in the other case. Yeah, if you play the Scandinavian with knight f6, in some lines you have to be prepared to not get the pawn back. There may be lines, I don't know it all that well, there may be lines where you can get the pawn back. Okay, he goes back home. When horsey go home, you know you're doing pretty well. Okay, let's play this bishop to e3 and take over this diagonal with our bishop so he doesn't get out with check. F3 is really nice here. Okay, I'm just going to bring my last piece into the game. Knight, he's headed to e4. And now black can't play e4. At some point, let's get castled. Black seems to be delaying this. I'm not wanting to delay it any further. Knight comes here. Maybe I just drop the bishop back? Do I want to give a bishop up for a knight here? No, I think I'm okay. I can actually just go b3. And then I've got an amazing queenside set of pawns. Just checking everything here. Bishop c2. You can push e4, but I still end up on the top side of that. So the bishop is perfect on c2. Got e4 under control. If he tries to prepare anything, any push like queen here, I'll just block with the knight. Could actually do that immediately, but let me just shore this up with b3. Gives him time to play bishop g6. And then, yeah, actually I got knight g3 to keep control of c4 in that case. Of e4, excuse me. I'll probably want to reroute this king knight. I don't mind trading light squared bishops. My knight naturally wants to go here anyway. Now the bishop's not on this diagonal. I don't need to worry about pinning that pawn again. Okay, I couldn't ask for much better here. Up a pawn. They're just dominating central pawns, and I got the key square under control, it seems. Probably play a knight to e4 next, or maybe swap bishops first. I think I'll keep the bishops on. I got more space after all. And that would solve black's back rank problem. Maybe rook. Rook c1, maybe. I don't think I need to make a rook move now. Just played a tournament yesterday. Went 2-2. But I was the strongest rated player of the tournament, so... Anyway, 2-2 is not terrible. I had one really good game. And one really tough loss. Actually, both losses were tough, but one was really well fought. Okay, now's the time to jump a knight in. I think this one wants to do the job. Yeah, and my queen always has b3 if nothing else does at the end of the day. Let's simplify. Let's trade some pieces off, shall we? Okay, I want to have a pawn on e4 in the end. And I think I want to do that in a way that leaves black cramped. So let's not trade too many pieces. I got the space advantage here. And now my next idea might be to push c5. If I'm allowed. Black probably sees that threat and probably looking at like a rook c8 here. Yeah. Okay. And he might be able to trade off those good bishops. But if I can leave his rook stranded on c8, that's somewhat of a little victory. If I move my queen, both of these pawns will be pinned. So I want to protect this bishop. Let's play rook c8, c1 ourselves. So now my queen's free to move. I could have gone for knight f4, f5 immediately, but there's really no rush on that move. Maybe I can get my queen to f3 before I play knight f5, and I can take with the queen then. Okay. Well, he solved his back rank problem. Yeah, let's play queen f3. I have another defender on e4. But he can kick this one. But then I just jump to f5. I like my bishop, but I'm going to have to part with it. That necessarily means I got to move my king, because he's a big threat here. Not just taking the bishop, but then he's going to win this with bishop c5, win my queen. So what to do about that? I think I just have to play king h1 here. Okay, there's a minor concession. He's got my good bishop. I'm happy I saw that. One of the most common types of simple moves I miss are long-range diagonal pins. And I play a lot of openings with an f4 push, like Vienna Game, King's Gambit, Fantasy Variation with Caro-Kann. So you have to be aware of those themes all the time. I didn't really want to play bishop d2 there, but now I'm threatening to play bishop g1. That would ultimately make his knight kind of kickable. Now bishop g1, is that just going to be met by bishop c5? I think it may. Am I forced to play h3 here? h3 and then knight f5. Why not bishop g1 first, right? That means at least we don't lose the bishop pair, right? Bishop g1, bishop c5, h3, bishop takes, king takes. The knight has to move. And maybe knight f5 looks good. So I'm going to do this. My queen is in the right spot here. I'm glad I have that knight guarded again. Actually, it would be wild. After bishop f5, I could try knight f5 right now. Just takes, takes. Trouble is I'm not really threatening a mate. So I can't do that right now. But I can do this. He doesn't have to move his knight, but knight f5 is coming either way. And then the knight will be won. I might have to defend along the h-file. Well, the knight won't necessarily be won, will it? I can force a lot of trades, it looks like. I'm seeing a line with all sorts of things ending with queen f2 hitting a rook and the queen at once. So we'd have to trade queens then. And his rook would still be stuck on c5. He has a better bishop, but one of my tough losses was I was a pawn down, but I had a much better bishop and a safer king, but those didn't end up mattering as much as the extra pawn in the end in that game. So yeah, you can have a better bishop, but if you got an extra pawn, that's probably a bigger deal, especially if it's a healthy pawn like this. Look at that monster. Okay, back he goes. Let's just play knight f5. We know that's a move I want to play. Okay. I got bishop e3 here. I also have bishop takes, and then this knight move. I don't think it does much. I'm going to go with this line, which seems to simplify. Although we are low on time, I don't really want to simplify. My opponent's even worse on time than me. Let's try this. I'm going to try this, and I'm threatening to come here. And then I'll take the knight, and he has to shatter his pawns. So he's doing this. Oh, what I have to take with the queen. Okay. I was going to take with the rook. That's okay. We're still okay here. The queen actually supports the c5 push if I want to go that route. I was expecting to take with the rook, but then I lose this other rook with check. I didn't see that. Good thing I have options. Okay, to take with the pawn or the queen? I think the queen looks good. I don't mind a trade. Ending might be easier for my opponent to handle at this time control, but I also just... One of the lessons I learned from one of my losses yesterday is just play to your strengths. And I'm strong at endings, so... How to get this bishop active? Oh, well... I don't want to give him counterplay. This is a boring way to play, but I'll find a way to get my bishop active. It's just a matter of... He's giving me another pawn, and I'm taking it. I don't see any way for my rook to be trapped. Okay, your knight can be there and my bishop can be there and we'll play with our rooks. That's the bottom line here. My bishop just keeps his knight totally in check. And it's going to be a game of rooks. Okay, I'm up 2 pawns. Let's get these rooks coordinated. Just bring the king in. And we're going to play g5 here. Maybe we'll play h4 first. Ooh, now that's definitely pinned. Now that gives up another pawn. And both rooks. Am I right? Rook take? No, I've counted wrong. But it gives up this pawn. Unless I'm missing something. Okay, let's take that pawn. Yeah, we gotta hide behind our pawn, otherwise we'll break the pin. We'll just plan to get the rook back here, and then play e5. Up 3 pawns and ready to win this one. Now he's got to defend this again. Oh, but that's the wrong way to defend it. How to do this? How about this? Bishop check. Give him some counterplay, won't it? Okay, he can't. If I check him with the bishop, he can't go there or there or there because this is a check and he can't take it. Is that really all that bad for him? We just check him here. Oh, and if he goes back to e6, I've got a mate on e7. That's nice. Okay, this is a nice threat here, threatening the knight, and threatening a skewer to take the rooks off to just kill any counterplay. So he's got to move the knight somewhere. You got to go knight e6 and then block this check with his knight. Oh no, he knows that loses the knight. So, do I have any tricks with my bishop? Unfortunately not. But I can get these guys rolling now. He's got to go to e8. And now we just push. And that's all she wrote. Well, she might make me write a little more. Yeah, black still has a place to go in case of stalemate. I was just making sure that the king wasn't locked in somewhere. Oh, he's going right into the mate. Okay. Okay, good game, JA 2022. Let's analyze it. So the normal move here is queen takes d5. Sorry, I can't rematch you, JA. Knight f6 is perfectly fine, but it basically can turn into a gambit. The way to hold this pawn, in my opinion, is not just that, because that will get you into trouble, and that runs into what I think is called the Icelandic gambit. So, let's look at that. Am I right? One of these, Panov transfer, huh? Huh. Oh, you can go into the Panov with d4, as though you played the Caro-Kann. Maybe this is the Icelandic gambit. Yes, Icelandic gambit is e6. And does pretty well. Black wins 37% of the games with the most common move here. But this, I think, is a better way to do it. d4 is the main move. And then once he grabs with the knight, you can try to chase the knight away. So if you took with the queen initially, you can chase it with knight c3. This way you can chase it with c4. Knight b6. And that's the main line here. But this is another way to play. And bishop d7 is the main move, and then the point is to get that bishop to block the queen so that you hang on to this pawn, at least for time. Bishop g4 is the main move here, and I think black can forcibly hold on to the pawn. f3, bishop c8 is the move. Bishop f5 is met by g4. Oh, and then bishop c8. Well, anyway, let's look at the main line. I wonder, well, let's figure out what's wrong with this. Bishop g6, now knight c3, and there's no b5. Well, yeah, looks like white's just holding on to the pawn, right? So c6. So you've loosened white's kingside, but he's keeping that pawn. So back to c8, however, and then knight c3. What's different here? Knight b to d7. And now you just go d4. You're not going to be able to counter when that knight lands on g6. You have to move your bishop. So you might as well get d4 in. You can do the check again. Why not the check? Now bishop d7. That bishop must be tired by now. Now bishop d7, and he's still threatening all these, and you can't go back to c4. Okay. So there is a way to hang on to the pawn, but it involves going back bishop c8. Interesting. Another idea, though, is b5. And now you drop back to b3, although you don't have to, huh? Bishop g4. a5 is another idea. And this is the exchange sack line I was talking about, which is very fun. a4, and then rook takes a4 is very interesting. So you're up a pawn. You grab an exchange. Well, you give up an exchange for a pawn. And just knight f3. I think you can even get away with c4 here. Maybe that's not ideal. Let's turn on the computer. Wow, it really likes white. Computer really likes white despite the exchange sack. Not so much after that move. So just get your pieces out. Just get your pieces out. That's never wrong. It's sometimes not as right, but it's never wrong. Yeah, and you don't just have... You got the bishop pair, which is like a pretty good piece of compensation for the exchange, and you got a pawn, and you just got much better piece activity. I've come up with dominating positions out of this exchange sacrifice, so it's a fun one for all you E4 players that meet the Viking defense. But that's not what happened here. In our game, this stuff happened. He goes back to h5. Okay, the computer likes our idea of h4. Oh, it doesn't like c4. Well, it can't make up its mind on c4. It's kind of drawn, apparently. e5 is the move. Really? I take en passant, however. And now what? Knight c6? We're just giving that up with check. Bishop takes f7. And after bishop c5, white can't get d4 in, so he's got to be humble about it in d3. And you're not going to be able to castle, at least very easily. Yeah, the move, the computer recommends it's just d4 anyway, but black is way better here. Interesting gambit. So I guess you got to go knight e2 here. And bishop c5. And probably just d4, right? Just give up that pawn. Queen takes, huh? Black is a little better, although the material is going to end up equal, it looks like. I went with c4. I'm okay. It's not the best move, apparently. Apparently just d4. And let that pawn go. I like hanging on to it. Now here, maybe c6 is a better try. e5 apparently was the best. Black went with a5. Now that pawn wasn't under threat. He probably didn't want me to push a5 and then have a4 for a bishop check or a rook to attack this pawn, maybe? I don't know. So I just built up my center. Yeah, and at this point, white's got to be just way better. Ooh, it didn't. Bishop d6, it really didn't like. c5 immediately. Yeah, that just gets these things rolling. e4. just give up the whole piece. Yeah, and then he got knight a7, knight a6, and he should have played that first. He knew that c5 was a problem. But okay. Yeah, I just played very logical moves. It all kind of flowed naturally. This game was... Well, there was a moment here where it looked like black was drumming up an attack. but I managed my way through it. Just traded a bunch of stuff off. Up a couple pawns now. Up 3 pawns. Yeah, 4 pawns. And the rest is not super interesting. There's an interesting little mate idea here. King e6 looks like a natural move, and then rook e6. Rook e7 is just mate. Yeah, but here's why he couldn't block. He realized he was going to either have to trade rooks or lose a knight, but he can't block this check because e6. His king can't get off the back rank because of my pawn wall here, and I'm just gonna push e7. There's not a lot can be done about it. He's gonna lose his knight. So yeah, that was a thorough one. You could have done a little better by going this way. King g8. We're just gonna. We don't even need to take the knight, huh? Bishop g6. His king has no moves. That is mean. That's a mean way to mate them with Zugzwang. His king has no moves. He's got to move his knight somewhere, and then you just start with that check here and finish him there. Okay. And if he goes there, there's this mate, of course. All right, that's the game. Thanks for watching. Stay feisty.